Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome award-winning, multi-platinum country music icon and star of the upcoming Fox series Monarch, Trace Adkins.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
The following is an All-Star 15 TV production.
From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
Industries across the board utilize fleet trucks on a daily basis, from your local utility company to your grocery store, and many of these companies choose full-service fleet leasing. With a traditional lease, you're responsible for everything after you get the truck, but a full-service lease includes all the maintenance and other services at a set cost. Regardless of the scope or range of your fleet needs, TranService will engineer a fully customized, full-service fleet leasing solution optimized to your requirements. From asset acquisition requiring no capital investment, to the engineering, configuration, and selection of your fleet equipment, to the people, facilities, and equipment to keep your fleet maintained and repaired. TranService gives you everything you need, with advantageous fleet pricing based on our national account status, compliance expertise, inspections, licensing, permitting, personal property taxes, nationwide roadside service, we cover it all for you. Contact us today to learn why leading companies rely on TranService for complete turnkey leasing solutions.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to All-Star 15 TV. On the broadcast tonight, it is the Sim500 TranService Truck Series from Pocono Raceway in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. I'm Agent Capola. In the booth with me, first off, it's the one and only Gary Wells.
Well, AJ, it's Pocono. It's tricky. We got 3 different corners, 3 different lengths of straightaways, fuel mileage, all the stuff I think is going to come into an impact here tonight.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's going to be a lot of craziness because the last couple of years have been very much a knock on wood caution-free race like we saw last week at Pocono. But before we go on any further, let's bring the one and only, the guy that really catches everything else around the racetrack, Mike Campeggio.
Gary, AJ, how you guys doing tonight? I'm excited to be here in Pocono. It's the tricky triangle, so I'm excited to see how the boys tackle this tricky triangle.
Not a love triangle.
With that being said, Gary, why don't you take us through Pocono's past?
Well, we've had in the last 3 races here, 2022 last year ran 60 laps caution free. Pedro Mojica won the pole, and then we had Bentley Glazer lead the most laps, but he finished 23rd. Your winner was Daniel Falkingham, starting from the front row. Then they didn't have a race here in 2021, from what I could do in my research. So 2020, they had a race here. Trey Eidson won the pole, led the most laps. And then Brian Macklin won the race after starting in the 14th spot. And they had 3 cautions in that event with 16 lead changes. And then 2019, they did have a green-white checkered. 12 lead changes, 6 cautions for 21 laps. Jason Jacoby won the pole for that race. Nicholas Cohen, I think that's how you pronounce his name, led the most laps at 25 out of those 62 laps and won the race from that 3rd position. So what that tells me, for the most part here, gentlemen, and I think we've seen it time and time again here at Pocono, hard place to pass, track position, late in the race particularly, very, very key.
Yeah, very much so. And also, a big thing with Pocono Raceway, there are 3 separate turns. And Gary, once again, why don't you take us through what each turn represents? Because as the wonderful people at home, either watching on Facebook, YouTube, or now Twitch, because we're on Twitch now, woohoo, about time I figured it out, they wanted to be very, very unique, which Pocono is a tricky triangle. Why is it a tricky triangle?
Well, you got 3 different corners, all different banking, and you got 3 straightaways, all different lengths. The front straightaway here, the longest straightaway in oval competition for NASCAR. Longest straightaway on the circuit. Turn number 1 is about 16 degrees of banking or so, mocked after the Trenton Speedway in New Jersey. Turn number 2, basically a 90-degree corner after you get off the Long Pond straightaway here, based off of Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Joe Hutchings' favorite racetrack. I hope he's watching. 8 degrees of banking in that corner. And then the last corner, as we're seeing Tommy Ryan go into now, I don't know what you have on your screen there. He's going through turn number 3, and that is the longest, most sweeping corner on the racetrack here, banked at just 6 degrees after the Milwaukee Mile. And that track and Indianapolis are the 2 most historic tracks in the U.S. right now as far as oval racing goes. Those 2 tracks basically founded oval racing, so it's really cool to see the different layout and different banks that they have for each individual corner here. Compromise is huge when you're building a setup here. and just getting a fast truck just in general. You really want to be good off of turn number 3 so you get that big momentum down the front straightaway, because it is a long straightaway here. And guys, we're going to see some drafting here tonight, similar to maybe Daytona and Talladega style. We're going to see these guys drafted, maybe even a little bit of bump drafting before they get into these corners. So tonight, going to be a lot of fun, but going to be very tricky.
And I like how you put that. And we're going to bring Mike Campigio back up here. Mike, when it comes to running the tricky triangle for Pocono, it's a fixed setup race, but you can adjust some of the stuff, offset, ratio, brakes, and everything. But the thing is with it, when coming here, you can't make the whole track the way you want it with the car. You have to pick and choose. Do you gain a little bit in turn 1, lose a little bit in turn 3? Are you good through the tunnel turn? As a driver, what are you aiming for with a quote-unquote fixed setup and the stuff you can change? As, holy cow, Richard Suave just killed that wall coming out of 2.
Well, AJ, I think what you're trying to do mostly is you're trying to at least set up one of these corners, mostly for your setup that you're going to hit, because you want to carry the most amount of speed. Turn 1 and turn 3, you're kind of wanting to play with the throttle a lot, and then turn 2, sometimes you can take the tunnel and turn in these trucks full throttle, but it's hard because you're not going to get all 3 corners perfectly right. So you kind of just have to compensate for one of the corners. Just, it's all about speed and really handling is what I've noticed. But
yeah,
you can't get all 3 corners right. You just kind of have to choose which one you want right.
As we're looking at newcomer Jason Karlovich, he's going to be in that 60 Toyota Tundra. As he's getting out of turn 1, looks like a really good turn 1, heading towards the tunnel turn. What we've seen with a lot of these newcomers entering the Sim500 is their first race is a feel it out race, and I'm really curious next week when we go to Daytona, is that where he's going to turn on the heat? But right now he's sitting at a P15, splitting the field in half, and right now Pedro Mojica is currently leading in practice, followed by Brian Macklin, Tommy Ryan, Scott Simley, and Seth Foddy is your top 5. So with that top 5, as practice is just about almost over, let's go over some of our picks, because we do them right during practice. We don't wait for qualifying. Let's go back to Mike Campigio. Who did you pick tonight?
Well, guys, I'm going to keep an eye on Kevin Stone in that number 17 truck. He looked pretty solid so far during practice, so I'm looking for a good race out of Kevin Stone tonight.
Yeah, currently P20th and just about 3/10 behind Pedro Mojica. Now let's send it over to Gary Wells.
My spotlight that I'm putting on tonight is going to be Tyler Dalton, currently 4th in points, was top 10 in practice, 7th place. So he's definitely seems to have a little bit of decent speed here tonight.
Yeah, and I'm going to take, waiting to see where he is. It looked like he was P10 or so. It's going to be Robert Fieri. He's had a lot of laps under that truck. Was still running when practice ended, trying to get a little bit left. And, he's just about 10th on the board. We've seen lately that he's been able to really push the car later in a run. So look for him to be able to do that again tonight, especially, not burning up the tires and maybe trying to split this race in half. Which, speaking about in half, as qualifying is going, there's the number 3 of Jeff Ryan. Gary, what do we have for pit strategy tonight? What are we going to see with some of these drivers, especially with 3 sets in the pits waiting for them?
Well, we're definitely, like you mentioned, we got that 3 sets in the pits. The fuel window here is about 30 to 32 laps, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, depending on the driver. These guys can make it on fuel in one stop. There's not a whole lot of tire fall off here, I've noticed. Since the repave, it is starting to lose a little bit of grip as we have more and more races here. But I think we're going to see about 30 to 32 laps. You can make it on one stop. Obviously, if we go caution free, I think that's what we're going to see a lot of, is that one stop race. But if we obviously get a couple cautions at certain points, that definitely you'll definitely see a lot of tire strategy here. But one stopper for these guys, that's pretty much it. Pretty simple and straightforward. In the past here, if we've had more than one stop races here, we've seen a lot of crew chiefs and a lot of teams run this race like a road course and run it backwards, pretty much to where you would want to get into your fuel window and then go from there. Because Pocono is really known for a lot of long runs. We've seen that here with Sim500 before. Like we mentioned last season, no cautions, anywhere from 3 to 4, depending on the season and how things are going with these guys. If they went caution free at Dover last week, I think they could definitely do it again here tonight.
And immediately Pedro Mojica to the point, followed by Scott Simley and then Nelson Rivera. You know, you mentioned it earlier that Tyler Dalton is currently sitting in that 4th position. He's minus 2 spots from last week coming into this week. I think he missed last week is the reason why.
He did.
I see Tommy Ryan coming out of turn number 1. But let's go straight to the point. Pedro Mojica is currently your points leader, and he is up over Trey Eitzen, who I don't think is here.
No, Trey's here.
Trey is here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Trey is here, but he's up 44 points. That's just about almost a full race worth of points. Then you got Kyle Merkel in 3rd, Tyler Dalton in 4th, and in 5th, it's Brian Macklin. But we want to take you all the way down to that 15th or so position, just for the fact of that's where it's close, and that's where people are going to have to start worrying about, are they going to make the playoffs? Because they take 18. So 15th is Kevin Stone, Hamish Gallagher in 16th. Kevin Brown is in 17th, and 18th it's EJ O'Rourke, and he is just above the cut line by 3 points on Doug Roth. And then you got Justin Fuller in 20th, Joey Gattina in 20th, tied with Fuller with 191, and then 22nd it's Joe Hudson with 181. So it is very tight. EJ O'Rourke P1 after that lap, and I think he might just be calling it there.
Yeah, and you could really only get one good lap out of these tires here for qualifying. So seeing EJ and Fuller and Pedro, these guys right here, and even Hamish, not a whole lot of a surprise there. Those are our guys week in and week out that usually qualify up there in the top 5, top 10.
Absolutely. And before we get going, thank you everybody for tuning in on this Wednesday evening. Hopefully your week is going by pretty well. Up in the Northeast, it's absolutely gorgeous out. Absolutely gorgeous out. But you're watching All-Star 15 TV. We have sponsors for the channel. Drinking Bros Auto Racing's Facebook page, Wrestling Over Everything's Facebook page, the Nerds Doing Nerd Things podcast, Falcon Grafix. If you go over to their Facebook page and use code AllStar15TV, Mick Olofsson will give you $5 off your first vehicle wrap on iRacing. Go check them out. And we have partnered with Wrestling Over Everything with a giveaway, with a raffle. You don't have to be going to the Fair Play Wrestle event. If you want to click on the raffle link, you could possibly win a Replica WWE Championship belt. I think that's dope, being a huge wrestling fan. It's just $10 a ticket. They will ship it to you if you cannot make it to the WrestleFest. And then if you come in second place, you get $200 to WWE Shop, and then third place gets $100 to WWE Shop. So right now we're sitting at about 50 people with a ticket bought. They will be selling them also at the facility that night. So go check them out. Maybe if you want a championship belt, like I do, go get it. But we're in warm-ups, and as we're in warm-ups, let's run down our starting lineup for the Pocono Raceway. Race number 9 for the Sim500 TranService Truck Series. Let's start it off. Here it is on your screen. It didn't pop up. Let's try this again. And survey says it's going to cancel itself out. So just give us a sec. we'll get you the starting lineup momentarily. But look for a fun evening tonight. 60 laps, 150 miles. And there it is. There it is. It just populated. EJ O'Rourke on the pole tonight. Outside pole, it's Justin Fuller. Row number 2, it's Hamish Gallagher and Pedro Mojica. Row number 3, it's Tommy Ryan and Trey Eitzen. Row 4, it's Scott Simley and Jason Karlovich. I'm going to apologize.
Karlovich.
Karlovich.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. Row 5, Nelson Rivera and John Schweinhart. Gary, take us to 20.
All right. In 11th here, we've got the 16 machine of Steve Ritter. 12th place is going to be Kevin DeBrown. 13th is going to be Shannon Wood. 14th is Mike Kelly. 15th is going to be Robert Fieri. 16th is going to be Seth Foudy. 17th is Chad Coleman. 18th is going to be Jeff Ryan. 19th is going to be Richard Swavely. And rounding out your top 20 is Wesley Donaldson. Campigio, take us out of here.
In 21st, we have Brian Macklin. In 22nd, we have Richard Beasley. In 23rd, we have Tyler Dalton. In 24th, we have Joe Hudson. In 25th, we have Kevin Stone. In 26th, we have Ron Hollyfield. In 27th, we have Doug Roth. In 28th is Doy Woods. In 29th is Robert Tucker. In 30th is Doug Sigmund. And in 31st is Gerald Livingston. And rounding out the field in 32nd is Brian Wertman.
The trucks are leaving pit road. We've got the one to go. You've heard our picks. We want to hear from you now. Who you rooting for? Tell us in the chat. We'll maybe pull some of those and talk about them and how your drivers are doing. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It's going to be a fun evening here tonight in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. And right now, I just can't wait for this green flag, because after the high I had from Dover Motor Speedway last week, it's just going to get better here tonight. This is one of my favorite tracks on the sim. This is where I got my best finish. Granted, it was in an ARCA car, but nonetheless, I have a lot of fun here. And it's such a technical track, especially with turn 1, turn 2, and turn 3 being completely different, as you heard Gary Wells mention at the beginning of the show. We're heading towards turn 3. That iRacing pace car is going to duck for cover down the pit lane, and we're going to hear all those engines come alive as they send it down the longest straightaway in NASCAR competition, right down towards turn 1. You guys ready?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love Gary's "oh yeah" there. I got to get that as a voice clip. There we go. Green flag in the air, and we are green at Pocono.
Clean and green. I was expecting everybody to be, 3, 4, 5 wide. I guess we're seeing that a little bit in the back, but I think as we get further onto this race, gentlemen, as they're side by side here for the lead going into turn 1, I think we might see those guys fan out just a little bit more. Tommy Ryan got loose
Kevin
there.
Brown
Was able to save it.
Kevin Brown off turn 1. They're wrecking big time, boys. We got
Big
the
wreck
big
in the
one.
back.
Big wreck. Holy cow.
It started with Kevin Brown and Mike Kelly. They both got loose.
Well, we had such a great race last week, and right off the bat, out of turn number 1, we get a caution
and it's
here
not
tonight.
fully surprising either. I mean, you got the 16 involved in this too. And Mike Kelly getting loose, yeah. I mean, and Kevin as well. It's unfortunate, but that's one thing we didn't really talk about here. You got to get the tires going a little bit, and as you can see, the 2 got loose. The 16 went up into Kevin, thinking that there might have been a little bit more room there just to give Mike the ultimate room to save his race truck. And you see that didn't happen, and fortunately, just into traffic there, boys.
That's a lot of
A
trucks.
lot of people involved early. Well, my pick's done, so
My
there you
pick
go.
is in it too. Kevin Stone's in it.
Oh, you want to change your pick? No, just kidding.
But that's something we didn't talk about in our intro. When we get a truck sideways, especially after a restart like this, there's not a lot of room, and people are going to be slamming on the brakes, and that's a perfect example of 3, 4, 5 trucks getting involved in it.
Yeah, even though
might
this
as well.
track is, 3, 4, 5 lanes wide, on the exit of these corners, it's a really tight exit. So where you could probably have 1 to 2 trucks, sometimes, especially coming out of turn 1 on these restarts, you're trying to fit 5 trucks there, and that's basically what happened right there.
So, last week was the first time here on All Star 15 TV that we've gone caution free. We've also hit a first here again, where all picks that the broadcaster has made were taken out in the same exact incident.
Oh my goodness.
Even yours too, huh?
Yep, mine was the first one to hit the inside wall.
Oh, well.
Gary, now I think this makes it so much easier. Come down pit road. If it's anything, you take fuel.
Yeah, I think if you're wanting to do that and give up your track position a little bit early here, you could. I think we'll see guys that are like 20th on back do that here. Maybe not so much our front runners, but I think your back markers, here you go. The guys with damage and without coming down pit road here just to top off that tank.
That's being led by Richard Suavely. In 21st, you got the 30 truck, sorry. Brian Macklin, Kevin Stone, Kevin Brown, Ron Holyfield, Joe Livingston, Doug Sigmund, Brian Wortman, Tyler Dalton back on the racetrack. You could see a lot of front end damage on that number 19 Chevy Silverado. Joe Hudson, who I do not see on the track right now. And then Robert Fieri is going to be assessing his damage for quite a while.
Yeah, and if you have a blown engine in these trucks, which Robert might have, minimum 40 minutes of repairs.
Oh, ow.
So he's going to be out for a little bit. He might be done for the night, actually.
Yeah. Because if we go green, you're looking at about 55 seconds a lap.
Just call it a minute a lap.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of where I was going to equal it out to.
Yeah, about a minute a lap. He might be lucky if there's 20 or 30 laps left in this race where he can come out and get his stuff done. I do see his crew working on the truck and giving him tires and stuff, but I think that's going to be the end of it, and he just disconnected. So there you go. That's the end of his night.
That's unfortunate. Junked a lot of trucks out of turn 2 there.
Yeah, and a lot of guys that were normally front runners in qualifying, but didn't qualify so good. Like Tyler Dalton normally qualifies pretty good. He was toward the back there in that incident. Kevin Stone's usually pretty decent at qualifying. Again, toward the back, and same with your guy there, AJ Robert Frieri. Normally a pretty decent qualifier, but they all were 20th on back, and that can lead to some chaos there back in the field.
Oh no, you said the C word. Hopefully TJ doesn't have royalties on those.
Right. Might have to pay him a little bit of cash here.
Well, light is off on the iRacing official pace car. We're going to go green again. Fuller, your race leader, followed by O'Rourke, Mojica, and Gallagher, your first 2 rows. Well, we're going to take a little bit here and get through this caution lap, and everybody's going to take a deep breath and then breathe out.
Think of it as more of a complete restart.
Exactly. We're on the same page here tonight. I like this. Same page. It's like I don't even have to talk. I could just talk through you.
Pretty much.
What are the Powerball numbers? Because I kind of need to know those, though.
Actually,
don't tell me on air. Everybody else will go hit the...
That's your numbers. Go back to work.
Oof. That's the minute the green flag hits, we go 3, 4, 5 wide and somehow get it funneled down to maybe 2 or 3.
I mean, if they'll probably watch that eNASCAR race last night and saw, everybody went 6 wide to turn 1 and made it. So probably trying the same thing. We're back underway, guys.
We are, and a great jump for a top 3. Hamish Gallagher and Trey Eitzen, not so much.
Left to defend there, and that's kind of a helpless feeling right there, having to defend on these restarts, because that draft really takes into effect.
Looks like further back you see some loose trucks. That's got to be all cold tires.
cold tires and the aromatics playing into effect there. A lot of dirty air, a lot of turbulent air back there, so could definitely upset the handling. And one thing we're going to have to watch out for here tonight is out of this tunnel turn, everybody likes to get up toward that fence and hit it every once in a while, so we're going to call that the Pocono strike. I got a stripe for every track, not just Darlington.
Especially if I drive it.
Yikes.
There's Tommy Ryan trying to make a pass on
On the
Karlovich. On the
yeah,
60th Karlovich.
not really going to work there because you're going to need some help, because when you're up in that choo-choo train there on the high side and you come down low and try to make a pass, it normally doesn't work unless you have help. You need at least one other truck to go with you in those type of situations, because that straightaway is just so long and
just
you got
got
a
really
whole lot of
loose.
momentum up there.
See the 26 of Seth 40. He's going to be looking to Wesley Donaldson, having a spot to the inside, possibly going into the tunnel turn.
Yeah, and like Compugio mentioned in the post-race or pre-race show, you can hold it wide open through here in turn number 2, but over the course of a run, it gets pretty tricky to hold it wide open. You have to hit the angle exactly right. I think what we're going to see is our front runners might be able to do that the whole run, but if you're toward the back and mid-pack, you're going to be lifting a little bit, just so that you're not one, burning off your tires too much, and two, so you don't run anybody over.
Well, early on, nice battle back here. This is for 15th. Seth 40 in the 16, Richard Beasley in the 10, and Doug Roth in the 43. Look for that 43 to get a whole shot coming out of turn 1 here.
Yeah, and Simley just made a great pass on Hamish Gallagher. Here comes the 60 of Jason Karlovich as well. See if he's able to, he'll be able to get to the inside of Hamish, but I don't know if he's going to be able to complete that pass going through the tunnel. He's going to do it, actually, and Tommy Ryan's going to follow him through.
Well, how much is it that, it's early on in this race that you're, being a little lenient on filling a hole right now?
I think a lot of it with Hamish is, he knows it's 60 laps, and it may not seem like a whole lot of time here, but 60 laps around this place, that's a lot of corners you're going through. Long distance track here, 2.5 miles. So, I mean, he's probably just wanting to take his time here. And if he lets a couple of guys go here early, it's not a big deal to him, because he knows he'll be able to catch him back down later.
Yeah, you see Mike Kelly right now. Looks like he's stuck on the, never mind. He's getting right behind Swinehart.
He didn't
I don't
have
know
it.
if he was trying to use some side drafting skills there or what, but it's hard to make these passes by yourself here, especially in this mid-pack where you got a whole train of trucks here.
Yeah, he didn't have anybody on that bottom line pushing him either.
Richard Beasley trying to make a run for it. The driver right in front of him, Doug Roth in the 43. He's up 10 positions from where he started, looking to make it 11 on Ritter going into turn number 1.
He's been on.
I would make a comment, but I'm not going to.
Uh-oh.
Well, it helps when you have 8 trucks at wreck. Oh.
Nice.
I'm just kidding.
Ouch.
Doug is one of those guys, though, just in general in Sim500, where he doesn't qualify the greatest, and he knows it. But he's always seems to be one of our hard chargers every week, too. So I can't discredit Doug that much. He actually does a really good job picking his way through the traffic. Looks like we do have a battle for the lead starting to heat up here between EJ and Justin. They were side by side to the line the last time by. Let's see if EJ can get a good run on Justin here. Not quite going to happen this time, but they've been racing pretty hard here. Look at EJ down at the end of this straightaway. He might be able to make a move to the inside. He's shown it to him. Yeah, he was showing Justin a left front headlight there, letting him know, hey, I'm here.
Looked like O'Rourke backed up turn number 1. Look for the run heading towards the tunnel turn. I think that tunnel turn is like the bus stop at Watkins Glen. You do not want to go through there too wide.
Yeah, we've seen it here in years past where you really don't want to be side by side. We've seen them make it work. But it's definitely, and Mike can attest to this, it's one of the, and you too, AJ, it's really one of the sketchiest feelings being on the outside in the tunnel turn at Pocono.
It is, because you have to also have a lot of faith for the guy that's to your inside too, a lot of trust.
Oh boy. I thought for a second out of turn 3 we were going to be 3 or 4 wide. Wesley Donaldson with an excellent run on this inside. That Chad Coleman right in front
they
of
got
him.
a nice 3-truck train right there going into one. Uh-oh. Chad get loose there. Wesley got loose.
Wesley got really loose, and so did Doug Roth on exit.
yeah, everybody got loose right there. And with this track, Mike and AJ, you're really starting to see a couple lines I've noticed over the last couple years on iRacing. I don't know if they rescanned this place, but you're really starting to be able to see guys be able to use multiple lanes in turn 1 and in turn 3. But turn 2, and Pocono's always been this way, you really have to stick to that bottom lane. But I've noticed mostly in turn 3 over the last couple of years, there's that line you can run right up against the rumble strips in turn 3, run that bottom, and you can also run about a half lane to a full lane up higher and still get that same momentum.
As we're looking at Tommy Ryan, currently in that 5th position, he's holding serve from where he qualified, but it's been nothing but battles for that 99 as he's, trying to make passes and try to keep 5th, as Scott Simley had a hell of a hard charge. Here he comes again.
Yeah, and Tommy has been, I've noticed here the last few laps as well, if he does have a truck that tries to charge to the inside, going into turn number 2, he's been able to hold him off pretty good. And same thing here in turn 3 as well. So if anybody's got that outside figured out in the tunnel turn, it's definitely Tommy.
Looks like some trucks coming out of 3 are getting tight. We saw a couple of them will smack the wall right there. And speaking of smacking the wall, I really thought Nelson Rivera was about to.
Yeah, I thought he was too. And some of that too, AJ, is loose because, again, compromising the fixed setup here on iRacing. Sometimes turn 3 is a little bit tricky coming out of the corner to where it may look like you're tight, but you're really just trying to fight the truck to get all the acceleration you can. You can get a little bit loose there as well in the back end. So you're fighting a couple of things there at the exit of turn number 3. And of course, when you're in the mid pack like Nelson is, you're really fighting the turbulent air too.
Still, it's Fuller, O'Rourke, Mojica, Eitzen, and Ryan, your top 5. Simley, Swinehart, Karlovich, Kelly, and Gallagher rounding out your top 10. The top 10 within a second and a half from each other. That's pretty close, and your top 6, top 7 now, all within a second.
Yeah, and you're really going to see that a lot here at Pocono. I've noticed with these trucks here, AJ. The top 4, top 5, they're all going to be right there pretty much all race long, it seems like, especially that top 3. I mean, we saw last week with Kyle Busch and
Corey Heim.
Yeah, Corey Heim here. Those top 2, top 3 trucks, they were right there in it this past weekend at Pocono. So it doesn't really fully surprise me with these guys.
We're 14 laps in, and we've only fallen off time-wise about a second. So not a huge ton of tire wear, but enough to where you're seeing some parity go on through the field, and some drivers like Doug Roth again with a really good run, probably going to try it down into turn number 1. I know Richard Beasley behind him wants him to.
Yeah, and you're really going to see some of these guys. It may fall off maybe about a second, but if it falls off a second, it usually stays there. So that's why I said you're not going to see a whole lot of tire fall off here at Pocono to where it's going to tempt these guys like a Darlington or a Dover or a Richmond to where, oh, hey, the difference in tire fall off is like 2 or 3 seconds a lap, or Rockingham. Oh, Beasley got loose. Nice save there by Richard Beasley in the 10 truck there. But
Beasley got crazy loose there.
Yeah,
Great
he
save.
did. But you're not going to see it enough to where it's like, oh my gosh, this guy pitted. He now is 3 seconds faster. I now have to pit. You really don't see that here at Pocono that often. On old Pocono, when it was the bumpy, wore-out Pocono, yes, there was that much of a a tire advantage. Here with the repave since then, not that much.
And if you pit, and I think it's what, 6 to 8 seconds behind the leader, you're going to stay on the lead lap. So that's also pretty huge, as here comes Karlovich looking to the inside of Swinehart. He's trying to move up.
Yeah, if you're within, like you said, 10, 15 seconds of the leader, you could come into the pits and then come out and not lose the lap. And pit road here at Pocono, it's very, very inviting for speeding tickets here. The pit road speed limit here is 55 miles an hour. It is the widest pit road we have here on the schedule, and it's also the biggest pit boxes here on the schedule as well. So, and Mike might be able to attest to this. I've gotten a speeding penalty at Pocono before.
Yep.
It could be very enticing if you're not paying attention to speed on pit road here.
It is, especially.
Just ask Denny Hamlin.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say ask Denny Hamlin. But
That's
yeah,
what
I mean,
Hamlin at any racetrack.
coming into pit road, it's very inviting to get a speeding ticket, and coming out of pit road too, it's very inviting to get a speeding ticket, because when you get out of pit road, you're like, okay, let me go, let me go, let me go, and then you hit the gas, and then it's easy to hit the speeding ticket, really.
Yeah, and then you have to come back in and hold for a few seconds, and that's never fun. And what we're really going to have to watch out for too, guys, the blend line, the blue cone here at Pocono is before turn 1. So, and they did pave an apron here the last time they reconfigured this racetrack a little bit and repaved it. They did add that apron area in turn 1 for people to run down there for coming up to speed. But there's no traction down there at all. It is very dirty. A lot of marbles down there on that apron. So it's gonna take a team effort here for everyone to get through turn 1 safely in the middle of green flag pit stops.
We're currently watching Swinehart as he's holding off Karlovich. But we're going to go up a little further as O'Rourke heading towards turn 3 once again with a run. He's getting pushed by Mojica.
Yeah, Pedro here is really good at saving his tires, so doesn't surprise me if he does have a little bit of a speed advantage at this point in the run because he's been able to save his stuff a little bit.
Our biggest mover of the race so far, I mentioned him earlier, Doug Roth, now up 13 positions as Kevin Brown now coming to pit road.
Yeah, and I think
Swikart got loose off turn 1.
Yeah,
Kevin might be off cycle here a little bit from the leaders here, obviously. I think he's just coming in, getting some tires and coming out. But yeah, I mean, these guys run a full fuel load here, so I was looking at it. Might be 30 laps, might be a little bit less, but kind of shocked to see Kevin come in this early.
Yeah, so am I. I'm not really shocked because he is one of the drivers that does have damage.
That is true.
So with him having damage, there could be a possible like overheating issue or something else. He's still on pit road. Actually, he pulled into pit road and then jumped to his pit box. So there could be something wrong with that 93. Richard Beasley onto Doug Roth. That 10 car up a position. Not just yet.
Yeah, and it seems like every single week here, the 10 and the 43, they seem to be racing their guts out every single week. And they always put on an entertaining battle. Doesn't matter whether it's for 14th or 15th or whether they're running the top 10 or the top 5. These guys always put on a nice, good, clean battle every week.
Tell you one thing, the battle for second between Mojica and O'Rourke is heating up, boys.
Yeah, Justin has actually been able to pull away from these guys because they're side-by-side. And the more side-by-side They have. It's just going to bring in those cars from the back, and the more Justin is going to start to pull away.
Yeah, because here comes Trey Eitzen, Tommy
He's going to
Ryan,
push to
Scott
that
Simley.
41. Oh, he might have sent 41 too hard into that corner. Woo! These guys are on edge.
That's a hell of a setup, heading towards turn 3.
Yeah, we might see these guys try to fan out, maybe 2 or 3 wide here. Look at Tommy Ryan. He's probably going to go with Trey here, I would imagine. Nope, just kidding.
And look at O'Rourke playing both lanes there.
A little bit of restrictor play racing, and that's what I was mentioning. You might see a little bit of that, and we also see the snake effect a lot here too, as these guys are going to be 3
goes
wide.
3 wide. Oh, it's gonna get tight. Oh, they're again.
Oh, there it is.
Oh no!
And carnage.
Oh, Schweikert. Oh, hit the inside wall. I thought he was gonna stay off the inside wall.
Hard racing gone wrong out of turn number 1. Let's take a look back at this. You're going to take it from the blimp cam. Here it is, top of your screen. Into turn number 1, Mojica sends O'Rourke. And then coming out of the turn, tries clearing himself, gets clipped, and headfirst into the wall. Oh, and then Swinehart. Oh. Well, there's another 4 or 5 cars there on lap 22. Let's take a look from John Swinehart's car. Out of turn number 1. Sees it.
Oh, yeah, just nowhere to go. Because it really happens late for him. I mean, because you really can't see what's in front of you. And he doesn't know that these guys are turned sideways here at the exit of turn number 1. So, really unfortunate for John there.
Yeah, it's going to probably head to pit road, assess the damage. The steering doesn't look too bad.
No, and I think that's what he's testing right there by weaving the truck back and forth a little bit just to see what he's kind of dealing with. And as long as these guys are floating at 1180 RPMs, I mean they're going to be pretty okay.
There is a lot of damage on that front end though, and to that right front tire.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have to come in. Might even have a broken wheel. But I mean, we were close to pit cycle here, so I'd imagine pit road is going to be a pretty busy place.
It very much is, and while they get everything corralled under caution to right now, we are going to take a step away and take a look at our sponsors, everybody. We'll be right back.
From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
Industries across the board utilize fleet trucks on a daily basis, from your local utility company to your grocery store, and many of these companies choose full-service fleet leasing. With a traditional lease, you're responsible for everything after you get the truck, but a full-service lease includes all the maintenance and other services at a set cost. Regardless of the scope or range of your fleet needs, TranService will engineer a fully customized, full-service fleet leasing solution optimized to your requirements. From asset acquisition requiring no capital investment, to the engineering, configuration, and selection of your fleet equipment, to the people, facilities, and equipment to keep your fleet maintained and repaired. TranService gives you everything you need, with advantageous fleet pricing based on our national account status, compliance expertise, inspections, licensing, permitting, personal property taxes, nationwide roadside service. We cover it all for you. Contact us today to learn why leading companies rely on TranService for complete turnkey leasing solutions.
All right, race fans, welcome back to Pocono Raceway. We are here for the Pocono 150. Thank you to TranService Truck Series for sponsoring the Sim500 Truck Series here. We've got, of course, shout out to our sponsors here on the channel, the Nerds Doing Nerd Things podcast, Falcon Grafix, the Drinkin Bros Auto Racing Facebook page, and of course the Wrestling Over Everything Facebook page. I know they got a little giveaway. We'll probably show that here in a minute. But AJ, we're about to get back down to business here. Mike, you as well. Lights are off on that beautiful pace car here. Looks like a Kia, might be an Audi. Who knows what it is? It's a generic pace car.
An old Dodge Dart. Not an old Dodge Dart, a new Dodge Dart.
Right. Futuristic Dodge Dart Charger looking thing. Who knows? But we're almost halfway through this deal, guys.
Yeah, we've already made it 25 laps, 2 cautions, and there has been so much action on the racetrack. We've been flipping back and forth from front to middle to back, but I think what we have in our top 5 right now, even with the new guy in the 60, Karlovich, I'm looking for a battle that is really gonna, make Justin Fuller defend, because the battle's always been behind him. He got to the lead and set sail. Let's see if Trey Eitzen or Hamish Gallagher can get right to him and battle for that lead, as he is gone. And Karlovich not going on that restart. He's gonna fall pretty far back on that inside lane.
Yeah, Simley didn't look like he got the best start either there, or I'm sorry, Rivera rather. So a little bit spaced out here. But yeah, I'm looking to see any kind of battle here too, to see if there could be any kind of pressure for Justin Fuller. We got 35 laps to go. I know we've had a couple of cautions, so they might be able to make it. They might not. It's going to be close. I think if you see some guys maybe further in the back, maybe start saving a little bit, they might be able to make it 35 laps on a tank of gas here. But that is a tall order here at Pocono.
Yeah, I think the draft will help you, but to save that much, you're going to be putting yourself out of the draft and very far behind.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't see a whole lot of drivers taking on that strategy to back off that much. Oh, we got problems here. I thought we were going to have something between Macklin and Donaldson there. They kept it straight. Wesley Donaldson bounced off the wall. I thought there was going to be more than that, but luckily, AJ, with it being as wide as it is on the front straightaway here at Pocono, they're able to get away with it.
16 was loose out of turn 1. Oh boy. Here comes Doy Woods.
Here comes Doy Woods. Pedro looks like he's got a fixed truck again. You're going to see Pedro try to cut through this field. I know he's really good at tire saving, but I think he's going to use a little bit of his equipment right here to get up through the rest of these guys. Try to get back up into that top 10.
Which he has to. Unfortunately, he's going to burn through those tires.
Oh, what a save.
Save it. What a monster save by the 28.
Holy crud. Everybody, we're going to jump on board.
And that's what I was talking about earlier, AJ, with, getting loose off of turn 3, especially when you got somebody to your outside. And I think that's what happened to Doy right there. He had a truck to his outside. I think it was the O2. And it just kind of, made him a little bit loose, almost turned him around.
He was aiming at those barrels.
I thought he was going to hit him. I ain't going to lie to you.
Holy cow, what a save. A race save. He was almost out of this race and finishing 26th.
I can't believe I'm going to say it, but, he almost had a Reese's move of the race there.
Ooh. Reese's, Hershey's,
Arca, anyway.
If you hear this, sponsor.
Right.
Sponsor. I am fat. I love chocolate. Works perfectly.
Right.
Yeah, looking for a battle on the racetrack. Gotta go back to Seth Body. He's on the outside of Wesley Donaldson.
And we saw Donaldson a couple laps ago just pound that outside wall coming off of turn 3.
Doesn't look like he has a lot of damage to that.
Yeah, you get a little bit of a stripe off of turn number 3 sometimes, and it didn't look like he pounded it. I kind of over-exaggerated, but he definitely scraped it and was trying to get up off the wall, and he had somebody who was inside, and that was Macklin. So.
And we are single file all the way through this field.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, really, you're going to see Ryan right here in the 3 try to get around Kevin Stone in the 17. And these are your guys right back here that had issues, with
You say that
with damage and from previous incidents.
Immediately got pulled to up front, and Trey Eitzen almost put the bumper to Justin Fuller. Gonna have to regroup and attack again.
Yeah, and luckily for him, he's got that army of trucks right behind him to where. If he does have to back up a little bit, that's where they use that bump drafting technique a little bit here at Pocono. So you can get your momentum back at a much quicker rate.
Would you consider this a momentum track? Because it seems like if you kill one of your corners, it's going to take you a turn or two to get back into that rhythm again. But then again, maybe not, because every corner is different. So you have to either...
Oh, absolutely. This place is a momentum track. If you mess up a corner, it ruins your whole next straightaway. Like, you have the first longest straightaway here, that front stretch. If you don't hit turn 3 just right, you're going to lose your momentum. Going into turn 1, if you don't hit your corner just right, you're going to lose it all the long punt straightaway. Second longest straightaway on the racetrack. Turn 2, if you don't hit it just right, that's okay. You have a short straightaway here. But it could affect your turn 3 because you're going in there slower than you normally would. So very much so, this is a momentum racetrack. It kind of reminds me of Indianapolis Motor Speedway a little bit, where if you don't hit turn 2 or turn 4 just right here, at those places, those long front and back straightaways, which is very similar to Pocono, you're in for a long day.
As you probably just piqued Joe's interest again, if he's still watching, mentioning Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Which, hi everybody, thanks for tuning in. We're on Twitch now, so if Twitch is easiest for you, we're streaming at All-Star 15 TV on Twitch, as you see this hell of a battle for 18th. Oh, here comes the 26th.
Oh, looks like they had a little bit of a disagreement there, Foudy, and maybe the 58 of Pedro there, causing a little bit of a scramble of the trucks, if you will.
Take a look.
Oh, it's the 26 and the 30. There you go. Looks like the 26 bounced off the apron a little bit at the exit of turn 1.
Yeah, that's what you mentioned. Messing up a turn kills the next straightaway. And he's going to lose 3, almost 4 positions on one straightaway.
Yeah, and it's really, really key here. I can't preach it enough. You mess up one corner here, it messes up the following straightaway. There's just no way around it. I've done it many times.
Here's Jeff Ryan. See him in the number 3, trying to get, hooked up with Pedro. That's not Pedro.
It is the 16 he's trying to get hooked up with there, Steve Ritter. They're similar looking. I get it. I probably would have made the same mistake.
Yeah, with the camera angles that they give us, I'm like looking. I was like, I think that says 58.
No.
It's fine. I know I'm way off. It's perfectly fine.
Happens. It happens.
Mike Kelly moving up a position in turn number 3. Karlovich to his outside.
Yeah, it looks like Karlovich is gonna take that spot ultimately.
Wow. What a
and it's hard, and it's hard being that inside truck, trying to keep up your momentum with the guy to your outside, because he has all the ability to pinch your corner off and make you have to think twice about getting back into the gas and carrying your momentum off of turn number 3.
Ooh, I thought the 2 of Kelly was getting loose there. Oh, but Roth gets loose.
Yeah, and we're getting to that point in the run again. We burned off some fuel here. Gonna see a little bit of looseness from these guys exiting these corners, especially that tunnel turn.
And the only driver that has not hit yet is the number 99, Tommy Ryan.
He hasn't pitted the whole race?
And that's what timing and scoring is telling me.
Oh boy. He gonna
We've
run out of
also
gas
had
soon.
2 cautions equaling out, I think, right now to 6 laps.
Okay.
So, might be coming in soon.
That's an
I
interesting
would
strategy.
imagine.
Pretty sure he has pit. That doesn't make any sense.
I was gonna say, I think I saw him pit under the last caution we had.
Let me go back and reset timing and scoring.
I know we were talking about Doug Roth being a guy that's been on the move. He's gone from 27th now to 7th, with a couple of trucks in front of him. Chad Coleman has also been on the move. He's up in the 5th, and he started this race in 17th. So those guys in the top 10 are two of our biggest movers so far tonight.
Yeah, and you know, like we mentioned earlier, yes, you can pass here. It's just really difficult to come back from, you know, outside the top 10 and win here. I mean, kudos to Doug for, you know, getting up, almost knocking on the door of the top 5, and Chad Coleman in the top 5 there in that
He
5th
pit on
position.
lap 23 with everybody.
Okay, that's what I figured.
I just had to shut off timing and scoring and turn it back on.
It happens to
Joshua
the best of us.
Metlock in the YouTube chat. What's up, Josh? Gary, you had something
3
there?
wide. That's why we're going 3 wide, Medlock.
Ooh. Wow. Look at that with Macklin, Ryan, Holyfield, and Foddy. They are driving it like it's the last lap.
At least you would think so anyway. We got some blocking going on here. Chad Coleman blocking that 99 of Tommy Ryan. Forcing him to work with him. Having to
Yep.
defend his brains out. 99 and 43 battling side by side. 38 having issues exiting the corner. Leaves Doug Roth no choice but to push him down the straightaway.
Yeah, I don't think Coleman knew where he wanted to go block, and then Roth just right into the back of him as they head into the tunnel turn.
He said, "You're just going to block me." Bop.
Ooh!
A little bit close to the wall, just like we were talking about with that turn 2. If you don't hit that angle just right, like Mike was talking about, and you're wide open right there, it just seems like your truck goes into a 4-wheel drift.
I also think a lot of it has to do with aero tight.
That too. I mean, that has a lot to do with it, especially back here in this part of the pack here. You would think around 5th, 6th place would be a good spot, but really these trucks just punch such a big hole in the air. It's really hard to, you know, just make it work when you're behind somebody, let alone when you're in a 5-6 truck pack like these guys are.
Jason Karlovich is falling backwards. He's now having to worry about Mike Kelly to his inside.
Yeah, and Mike Kelly, always a guy that we've seen every week run around this area of the field, right on the fringe of the top 10. And depending on the track, you know, sometimes he's in the top 5. But Mike Kelly, a model of consistency in Sim500.
Nelson Rivera with a huge save off the tunnel turn right there. I mean,
Yeah, he
he
did.
just about wrecked it right there.
He sure did. He's about to wreck it here in turn 3, too.
Yeah, he's going to lose a couple spots being on the inside there.
And he's going to have a little bit of a draft here with Mike Kelly. Not a whole lot, though.
I think that's more beneficial to the 2 than it is to 22.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. You want to get drafted anywhere that you can around this racetrack. As the 2 and the 10 are battling here for that 10th spot. and Nelson, all right here. 3-truck battle for 10.
Yeah, all right here. As Rivera's to the inside of Kelly. Oh, it's really tight out of the tunnel.
Oh, they're gonna and Rivera's gonna fall back to 11th here. He might lose his spot to Beasley.
All because he couldn't get the power down.
Yeah, all because of that.
He's coming to pit road.
Pit road.
Oh, he is gonna come to pit road. All right. Well, and we are here in the window here, boys, to make it to the end. So you don't need a full fuel load here, but you will take tires for sure. As we mentioned, when we took that green flag back, we were right on the edge of the fuel window to make it to the end, but it was a lot of the outside looking in. And especially with Fuller leading most of this race, he is not saving it all. So he's probably going to come in here pretty shortly, I would imagine. And just look at the 51, how he's just able to send it into the corner.
And it sticks.
Yeah. And you see Trey, he gets to him by the end of the straightaway, but, he has to back it up a little bit and just can't seem to quite get the grip he needs going into these corners center off like Justin has. But you could tell, thank you, Daniel there for liking the stream. You could definitely tell there, though, that the 7 can get off of turn 1 pretty well. You could tell that's Justin's weakest corner is turn 1, but he is good where it counts, and that's turn 2 and turn 3. EJ say he was going to pit right there. Did you hear that,
I think
Mike?
so.
I think so. Either that, he was telling Ron Hollyfield to hang on to some.
Okay. Yeah, and EJ really hasn't recovered from his issues either. He's only made up a spot or two since the restart. Really, the biggest mover has been Pedro since the restart. Moved up from that 20-ish spot up to 14th. So he's been making some nice progress, but you can definitely tell that truck is hurting a little bit, and it's not gonna quite be enough for him.
Workman coming to pit road. Or just left pit road.
Yeah, it looks like he might have just left pit road. One thing we really haven't talked about here tonight, and I don't know if these guys are doing it, but shifting we have seen in the trucks in the past play a part here at Pocono, where they're shifting down into third gear, going into 1 and even going into 3 sometimes.
We're currently on board with Justin Fuller, our race leader. He's getting pushed by Trey Eitzen. Let's see if there's any shifting going on. Nope, not for him.
No, not for him, but you could definitely tell he was using some brake there to slow the truck down instead of coasting it. So, Justin's giving it all he's got. We won't see any shifting here in turn 2, really, because these guys are basically wide open. And you could use that apron, kind of like what Trey did there in turn number 2, to clip the left front down there just to get the turn a little bit so you can keep it in the gas for the exit of the corner.
It looks like it helps out a lot, especially on older tires. Any little bit of help turning without wrecking the car is probably well invited, as here comes Mike Kelly down pit road.
Yeah, Mike Kelly and a few
And
other
Wesley
guys are
Donaldson.
probably coming down here, yep.
Ooh, you saw Wesley Donaldson light those tires up on
Yeah, look
entry.
at the 16 also coming in, or that might have been the 58 of Pedro. No, that was Foudy. Sorry, 26.
Here comes Doug Sigmund with a late entry to pit road.
Yeah, and that's really one of the toughest ones for on the circuit as well, Mike and AJ. Coming off of turn number 3, you're going from basically 140, 150 miles an hour, and you got to get that truck down to 55 in a pretty big hurry.
Richard Beasley in the 10. Currently, we're going to move towards the 43 as he's coming to pit road now.
Yeah, you're really going to start to see the bulk of these guys pitting. It's getting to that time.
2 seconds slower from where we started at the run, and now with everybody pitting with 15 laps to go.
Yeah, and you do have quite a bit of tire fall off here, but I mean, it's consistent, and you kind of maintain in that gap for a while, and then it kind of dips off, and then tire saving is really critical here too, and it helps keep your momentum up. So managing your right front is really important here. It's not easy to manage these right side tires here, but you gotta be able to do it. We got Shannon Wood coming into the pits this time. 17, Kevin Stone also pitting. Lots of takers here, lots of takers.
Ooh, Mojica lights it up.
A lot of guys are lighting it up. You gotta be at 55 by the time you hit the yellow cone.
Wow. A lot of takers on pit road, starting with
Yeah,
Hamish
it's a
Gallagher.
pretty busy
Tommy
place here right
Ryan.
now. Yeah, a lot of the top 5, a lot of the top 10. Only a few trucks left here. Looks like just the 51, the 7, and the 12. Everybody else pitted. I think you're going to see these guys
It looks like
pit here
Shannon
this
Wood
time.
went through his pit stall a little bit.
Yep, just a little bit. That'll cost you a little bit of time. Cost you some spots. 51 and the 7 are probably going to pit together, I would imagine. And these guys don't have to take as much fuel as the rest of these guys here that just pitted. So, yep, and here they come, all three of them. Simley, Trey Eitzen, and Justin Fuller here, your top 3.
And
Swabley's coming in as well.
Steve Ritter's going to take over the
stay
lead.
out here and lead this lap.
Did it give it to him?
It gave it to him
Oh, that's a point.
by 2/10. It's going to give him a bonus point here. And he might have been one of our guys that came in with 2 or 1 laps to go that last caution and probably topped off on fuel, so he was able to extend this run by a couple of laps.
Behind him, about 7 seconds, you got Brian Macklin, EJ O'Rourke in the 41 in third, and Ron Holyfield all still need to make a pit stop along with Doy Woods.
Yeah, and I think they were possibly expecting maybe a caution, especially with those big pack of trucks that came in all at the same time.
Yep.
I think they were
Wasn't
banking
the
on
only one.
yellow to happen.
So look at this. Justin Fuller back in 12th.
Oh, he
He's
just
got-
had a big moment off turn 2. Sorry, AJ. He just about wrecked it off turn 2.
Yeah, we saw the aftermath of that big moment here. Oh,
I think he hit
did
the
he get
wall.
did he get a tunnel stripe? Let's see.
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
he definitely did.
Along with Trey Eitzen. Not as
Yeah, look
big
like
of a
Trey
one,
just
but-
kind of followed him up there.
Woo! See if that hurts the truck at all, because he smacked it good.
With this new damage model, they should be okay, but it might affect them a little bit. And you got to keep these trucks in pristine condition for your aerodynamics.
So Mike Kelly pit 3 laps ahead of them, and he's a position ahead. Tommy Ryan on 45 just put the fastest lap down. He's going to pass Wesley Donaldson. And he's got Chad Coleman on 45, and Hamish Gallagher is leading the pack out of the drivers that hit on 45.
Yeah, not a surprise to see a little bit of pit strategy come into effect here. Hamish there leading that charge.
With just about a 1.5 second lead over Justin Fuller, who's basically led almost every lap.
And Fuller's going
Until
to be
this
hauling
pit
tail
stop.
to get back up with these guys. But
Yep.
going to be interesting to see how long Ritter and Macklin and O'Rourke and Hollyfield and Doy Woods are going to be able to stay out here.
Should be coming to pit road within the next 5-ish laps at most.
Yeah, I think at this point they're banking on a yellow. if they can get it within this next lap or two, I think they're going to be in really good shape because, in my opinion, I think we've run enough laps at this point. I think everybody's got an extra set of tires. So likely you're going to see them come in and take their last set of Goodyear Eagles.
Yep. As Trey Eitzen just put the fastest lap on the board of 54.84.
I'm not surprised about anything.
Truck.
Congratulations.
What?
Yeah, look at how they were able to pass Mike Kelly pretty easily there. Well, at least Justin was able to. Justin bringing his buddy Trey along there with him there, going into turn number 2. Using the draft.
Well, I think, Gary, you said it best. You know, they're going to be coming with a full head of steam. Getting to somebody is different than passing somebody.
Yep, track position and setting up a pass is going to be key. We really haven't seen Justin in traffic a whole lot here tonight, so going to be interesting to see how he attacks these next few corners with all these guys right here. And he's caught up to them pretty quick, a lot better than I thought he was going to.
And everything changes if we get a caution.
Oh, absolutely. Everything's definitely going to change once we get a caution here. I mean, these guys are only battling for 4th or 5th, but, you know, once pit cycles out, we're projecting that this is going to be a battle for a top spot here. Woo! Another moment for Fuller off of turn 2.
Yeah, I think he's trying to push it too hard.
Yeah, I think he's sending it just a little bit too hard, trying to get all he can. But, I mean, hey, you know, 8 laps left in the race. You got to do what you got to do at this point.
Yeah.
Steve Ritter still hasn't pitted yet.
Yeah,
it's top 4.
I've kind of been watching these guys while we've been watching the battles for the lead. Looks like he might pit this time. Maybe not. He's going to keep it out there another lap. And, guys, if you run out of gas here, especially say you run out of gas in turn 1, it's going to result in a tow.
There was a really good NASCAR Pocono race that everybody seemed the last 5 laps to be running out of gas. I can't remember who won. Was it Kyle Busch?
No, Matt Kenseth.
I was going to say, it was either Matt Kenseth or Joey Logano.
I feel like you hated saying that.
I was going to say, I think it was around 2015, 2016?
Yeah, I believe it was 15 because Jeff Gordon finished second in that race. I believe.
Only you would remember stuff like that.
Yeah, no kidding. What the hell?
That's my memory. My memory's pretty darn good, like that sometimes.
All right, look at this group right here. You got Gallagher, Coleman, Ryan, Fuller, Eitzen, all under a blanket. This is what we're expecting the lead pack to look like.
If they all pit. I mean, who knows? Maybe they've been able to save enough gas.
If they don't need to pit, I want that fuel glitch.
Right. And I mean, you know, Steve really hasn't had to push his truck very much. I mean, he's got a 12-second lead. I mean, he can coast. He can not push it. He's got plenty of opportunity to let off a little bit, save some fuel as he's doing here. Looks like he might be clutching it. Let me hop on board here with Ritter.
Oh, we got trouble turn 1.
Trouble turn 1. This is exactly what Steve Ritter wanted to see.
Oh, Doug Roth, who's having...
No, not Dougie. Oh, no. Pedro and Doug make contact there.
Was there contact beforehand pushing the 58
I
up the
don't
racetrack?
think so. I mean, there could have been. Let's take a look. I think the 58 just was they. I think they just went through turn one way too
Oh.
hard. I think that was just the case there with the 58 and the 43. They both went into the corner too hard. 58 bounced off the wall, and the 43 with nowhere to go.
You got to feel for Doug Roth. I mean, he was having such a good night.
Yeah, he was having a pretty solid night. Not toward the end there. I think he was only running about 15th or 16th, but I mean he was driving his butt off to get up to what I think it was like fourth or fifth at one point. He drove a heck of a race.
Hashtag game changer.
Hashtag
Yeah.
chaos.
Hashtag chaos. Hashtag break the game. We're gonna see pit stops here one more time, guys. 4 tires and fuel, especially for some of these guys that need fuel to get to the end. And don't forget, we have how many green white checkers?
2.
So, got to
Thank
plan
God.
for those in your fuel strategy here a little bit as well.
Thank God for your notes. Thank God for your notes. All right, everybody, we're going to take a final commercial break. When we return, it'll be time for the restart here in Pocono Raceway.
Let's go pay some bills.
Woohoo!
Industries across the board utilize fleet trucks on a daily basis, from your local utility company to your grocery store, and many of these companies choose full-service fleet leasing. With a traditional lease, you're responsible for everything after you get the truck, but a full-service lease includes all the maintenance and other services at a set cost. Regardless of the scope or range of your fleet needs, TranService will engineer a fully customized, full-service fleet leasing solution optimized to your requirements. From asset acquisition requiring no capital investment, to the engineering, configuration, and selection of your fleet equipment, to the people, facilities, and equipment to keep your fleet maintained and repaired. TranService gives you everything you need, with advantageous fleet pricing based on our national account status, compliance expertise, inspections, licensing, permitting, personal property taxes, nationwide roadside service. We cover it all for you. Contact us today to learn why leading companies rely on TranService for complete turnkey leasing solutions.
From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
We're back, everybody, from Long Pond, Pennsylvania, and we got some game-changing strats right now. Eitzen, Karlovich, Mojica, and Beasley chose not to pit. That's going to give basically everybody behind them.
I think Jeff Ryan also stayed out too here, AJ.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Yeah, so top 5 all staying out here.
Basically everybody behind them. 10-lap fresher tires, and the person that would probably know how 10-lap old tires versus new tires is going to feel, it probably Mike Campigio. What are we expecting with the drivers on new tires?
Oh, they're going to be feeling like Superman, and they're going to make very aggressive moves, and you're probably going to see a lot of 3 wide racing in the turn 1 and off turn 1 down the backstretch.
Superman.
Wheel spin, wheel spin, wheel spin is what I'm preaching to my top 5 drivers right here. And honestly, you know, with only 3 laps left in this race, staying out may not be the worst call. But if I'm Jeff Ryan, I'm a little bit nervous because I got new tires to my outside and new tires behind. I want to make sure I have a good restart here. And you know that 60, Jason Karlovich, he's been playing it pretty safe tonight, running top 10 all night. But I mean, these guys, top 5, it was your Hail Mary. If you sit here and follow Justin Fuller, you know what you're going to end up doing at the end, following Justin Fuller to the checkered flag. So I don't blame these guys for staying out. Let's watch this Kia pace car come on into the pits. Now it'll be 3 wide time.
And green, here we go.
Oh, man, Fuller with a big push on Pedro already. We're going to see them go 3 wide probably. Watch for Justin Fuller to make a move here.
Macklin made it 3 wide in the back.
Yep, 3, 4 wide here in the back. Going to be 3 wide right here. Here comes Justin Fuller. He's going to send it 3 wide.
I thought he was about to make it 4 wide.
Oh,
Is
Macklin's
it going to
getting
stick?
turned. Macklin's turned around into the outside wall.
Caution's out. Former winner here at Pocono. Mr. Macklin back in 2020 is involved in this one.
Kevin Stone's in it. I think Nelson Rivera got a piece.
And he's going to have to jump the pit road because of the damage.
And what do we have here? We have ourselves a green, white, checkered.
Yeah, looks like Doy Woods gets into the back of Macklin and just sends him around, collecting a couple other drivers.
Yeah, collecting suavely right there, unfortunately. Maybe even Tommy Ryan, hard telling. But yeah, he definitely sent Macklin through the exit of that corner. I think he's going to collect Rivera. I think he's going to collect Rivera right here. And Suavely.
Oh, and Foudy.
Yeah, and Foudy here.
I believe it's...
Oh, and there's a follow-up wreck here with Kevin Stone as well. Shades of the first lap. Oh, he gets T-boned here. Definitely shades of the first lap.
And that's Scott Simley. Look at all that damage.
Well, we knew it was going to be chaos and aggressiveness, and now this next restart's just going to get ramped up even more right there.
Yeah, and you, Trey Eidson and Jason Karlovich were hoping it was going to go green to the end because they didn't want to have to deal with Justin Fuller. Well, they're going to have to deal with him anyway.
You know, what a first race for him in the Sim500. Jason Karlovich started back in the 8th position, had a really good practice session, pretty good in qualifying, and now sitting 2nd in his debut race for the TranService Truck Series.
Yeah. I mean, he's done a great job. I mean, he's been, hanging around the fringe of the top 5 all night, running around that 6th or 7th position. Had a clean restart there, so he's been doing pretty good. We got the lucky dog here. She's seen everybody divert low. Here comes the 19 of Tyler Dalton to get a lap back.
Which should put him back on the lead lap.
It should, yes, absolutely. It's going to put him back on the lead lap. That'll give us 26 trucks on the lead lap.
What's funny is the damage from lap 1 put him a lap down. Could the last caution on lap 60 put him back on the lead lap? And right now, he's basically in damage control. How many spots can he get?
Yeah, and I mean, with as banged up of a truck as he has, if he could come away with the top 20, I think he's going to take that as mission accomplished tonight.
Yeah, try to, what do they say, stop the bleeding?
Yeah, pretty much.
Because right now, he's currently sitting in that 4th position with 262 points. He's 66 minus behind Pedro Mojica. Macklin's going to gain on him. Tommy Ryan's going to gain on him. Chad Coleman, I think he's actually around Chad Coleman in the race. Nah, I'm wrong. Chad Coleman is currently in 12th. So basically, he's going to have a lot of people gaining points on him, but if he could just gain a couple extra positions, he'll minimize the bleeding going into Daytona next week.
Yeah, Daytona next week, that's going to be basically just a race of survival.
It's going to be one of those wild card races, as they talk about.
And Trey Eidson is going to take the outside on the restart. He wants to make sure that Justin Fuller does not start right behind him.
Interesting strategy. I would want Justin Fuller's new tires pushing me on a restart, but
Watch out for tire spin.
But I mean, you also want to have that good arc going into one, and that's what Trey's going to have right here too.
I also anticipate Justin Fuller may push the 60 a little bit, then he might make it 3 wide going into 1.
Well, he did that with Pedro the last restart, so wouldn't surprise me. I guess he would try to go maybe inside here. We'll have to see what happens. I don't think he'll push him a whole lot, because if he can get a jump on the 60 past the start-finish line, he's definitely going to take it. Going to be interesting to see how it all works out. I wish we had faster pace laps.
Right? Right? Like, just pace car gone, go.
A lot
And
like
this is 1 or 2 attempts. Just a reminder to y'all.
Yeah, these pace laps are a lot like Daytona and Talladega. They just take forever.
2 minutes that last lap.
Well, we're going through turn 3 now, so we don't have to go much longer.
That's a good thing. And I know these
Knock
drivers
on
are
wood.
anxious. I mean, look at Justin Fuller. He's ready. All right. Here goes the beautiful pace car down to the safety of pit lane. Green, white, checkered attempt number 1. Green flag back in the air. Trey with a good restart.
Trey with a great restart. That inside lane, not so much.
Yeah, not so much. Oh, okay. Justin being really aggressive here. Spotter called him clear, and he went. He did not hesitate. Look, he's going to try and make this outside of 3 wide work this time. Not going to quite get there, though.
Look at Richard.
And if I'm Karlovich, I'm trying to hold Fuller up if I can, maybe use him as a pick, but it didn't happen
EJ
that
work
time.
looking to the inside.
Here comes Justin Fuller to the inside to take second away. He's going to try it. He's loose. Oh, what a slider. Mike Kelly bouncing off the wall. Gets into Tommy Ryan. Side by side for second. This is what Trey wants to see.
EJ
wide.
O'Rourke, great run down to turn 3.
Slider. Well, we see a crossover by Justin. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go. Sponsored by.
Fair play, WrestleFest.
Thank you.
I was waiting for it.
All right, diving down here into turn 1. Do they have anything for Trey? That's going to be the question.
They're going to need the draft going into the tunnel turn here.
He's going to need to snake this draft like a you-know-what. If he could do that, I think he's going to be in decent shape.
I think if he gets through the tunnel turn, he's fine.
I don't know. Turn 3 is also just as tricky. We'll have to see. Gets through turn 2. Oh, EJ had a little bit of looseness there. Going to break up his momentum. That's going to help Trey. Now, if Trey can get through turn 3, look at Justin just absolutely sending it.
Oh, look at EJ at work to the outside.
Not going to make it work. But Trey beats them both back to the gas.
And Eitzen is
Trey is going to get it. He is going to win. Pocono.
What a final lap between Eitzen, O'Rourke, and Fuller. That's going to be your podium. Beasley, Kelly.
Oh! After the checkered 41 and 51 make contact. I think they're friends. So I think they do that all the time.
Was that just they just send it, bub?
I don't know.
Interesting.
That's going to hurt in the morning. But rounding out your top 10, Kelly in 5th, 6th, it's Tommy Ryan. Jason Kalovich in 7th, 8th, it's going to be Wesley Donaldson, Chad Coleman in 9th, and Pedro Mojica rounding out your top 10 tonight. Gonna get it. Oh! They're all junk in the cars. And there's the 7 of Trey. Congratulations on your win tonight. We're going to get a word with our podium finishers momentarily. But overall, what a great race. Full of action and intense moments, especially that late race caution. see. Who do we have in the waiting? Oh, we got everybody in the waiting room.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll take P1. I'll let you guys fight over second and third. But I'm going to talk to our race winner.
Oh, wrong guy. Sorry.
Trey Eidson.
Right guy.
Trey, it's AJ, Gary, and Mike in the broadcast booth. Great win, my friend. And were you worried on that final restart at all?
Yeah, absolutely. With the EJ, I was actually worried about Fuller, because he was fast anyway, and then he had 2 tires. I didn't think the guys on 4 would get there, and then I looked up. Coming to the white, I was like, okay, they didn't really gain. Like I looked at the mirror and I was like, the gap's kind of staying. And then we got through turn 1, and I was like, yeah, this kind of sketchy going into the turn, but it worked out. EJ got loose, and then I don't know what he was trying to do down in 3, but it didn't stick, so worked out.
Yeah, it looked like he really sent it in turn 3. But overall, a really good race for that Chevy Silverado. And, you know, it was you and Fuller for the majority of it. Talk about overall the race and what the win means to your season.
It's always nice to get a win, obviously. I think I told you guys last week, I feel pretty comfortable as far as making the playoff. I like just how we run every week, where we're at in the points. Like, I think I would have to like string a bunch of DNFs to really even worry about it. But yeah, Fuller was probably the fastest truck. I had some damage to the right front when EJ and Pedro had their incident, but I was not going to get it fixed because it was really almost impossible to pass. I mean, you guys see if you pull out a line, you get trained. So it was really just kind of, I'm going to sit here in second, draft with Fuller. If we pull away, we pull away. But I'm not going to jeopardize pulling out to pass him even if I had a shot, just because the people behind you are going to probably go to your outside and line up and you get trained. So don't really know what the racing was like in the pack, but at least in the top 10, it looked like it was a choo-choo train. So probably not the best track car or track combo with the way the drafting is in this thing. I love driving Pocono. It's fun. The tunnel turns like amazing. I love driving that, but just racing it in this it's not ideal, but it is what it is. It's where we were told to go, so it's where we're at.
All right, brother. Well, we go to Daytona next week. We go from a 2.5 to another 2.5, which is completely different. What are you expecting?
I don't normally have very good, I would say, plate luck. Do we even run plates anymore? I think it's spacers, but I'm at the front and then I die. So you kind of know what you sign up for when you go into Daytona or Talladega and the new Atlanta. You can't really go in there with feelings or emotions. You got to go in there expecting to wreck. But it'll be more drafting, but we'll be able to pass and have fun. The truck is that's good at Daytona. You can go 2 and 3 wide. You can, if you get a partner, you can make a 3rd lane work. So I'm not good at it, barely win at it, but I enjoy the Daytona Talladega. You ain't got to worry about practicing. You just show up and hold it to the floor.
All right, one final thing. Got any sponsors you'd like to plug before we let you go celebrate the win tonight?
Yeah, I mean, thanks to you. Thanks to taking time out of your schedule to broadcast our league, and Joey and Tyler and all the admins, NC811, TranService, all the sponsors that support the league. So thanks to them. Thanks to teammates EJ and Fuller. They we work together, but then when coming to the right there, the gloves are off at the end, so you never know what to expect. But thanks to everybody. That's part of Aftermath. So hopefully I cross the line on 4 wheels and not my roof next week and get to talk to you.
All right, brother. Well, congratulations once again. We'll see you in Daytona Beach next week.
Appreciate it. Yes, sir. Have a good one.
All right, that's Trey Eidson finishing tonight P1 from Pocono Raceway. Gary, we'll let you have P number 2.
All right. Well, we've got EJ our work right here. EJ, you've been through hell and back, to say the least, here tonight. Second, started on pole, close to winning. talk about your last restart there, bud.
Yeah, well, up and down race for sure. Last restart there. There's no other way to say it than I choked it away there. I got loose off turn 2 and just stepped on it. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, well, I mean, heck of a comeback too. I mean, coming back from outside the top 20 after that incident with you and Pedro, and coming back to getting P2. Um, Daytona next week. I know tonight's finish wasn't what you were looking for, but how do you feel about Daytona?
Love Daytona. I feel like I can win there every single time I go, but the problem is so does everybody else. But I feel like I kind of have an upper hand out of a lot of the field at the restricted plate tracks. I know my teammates will be hard to beat. And, Joey Gattina shows up. He's always hard to beat. Richard Beasley, Chad Coleman, people like that. So we'll see. Right place, right time, just like tonight. Just you gotta be there when it counts. And I was out of it, with 10 to go. And, got a caution. All of a sudden, I was right in it.
Absolutely. Well, we'll let you go celebrate your second place here tonight. Any sponsors you want to thank before we let you go?
I just want to thank Personal Comfort Scott Sense for getting me back and forth the racetrack. I wouldn't be able to afford the fuel, get in the put in the diesel truck, and be able to buy these Goodyear Racing Eagles. I mean, they're $2,000 a set. It's expensive. Use 2 sets tonight, so just the bills add up. And sometimes you wonder if you can make it back to the racetrack, and have people like Personal Comfort and Scott Sense will be able to bring yourself to the racetrack. It's very, very special, and I really appreciate him and everything they do for this race team.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week at Daytona, and again, congratulations on P2.
Appreciate it, Gary. We're going to do everything we can to win next week. It'll be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. We'll see you then. All right. And I believe we are on virtual pit lane. Mike Campigio is caught up with Justin Fuller.
Justin, it's Gary, Mike, and AJ. You got us?
We got you.
Man, third place finish tonight. You had the dominant truck this evening. Just talk about your race overall and how you thought everything played out.
Just a draft track, I think it pretty much showed that, and it was not fun at all.
And well, there's a lot of action that did happen tonight. Just talk about the last couple laps after we had that late yellow. I know you came down and took 4 tires. And did you think you could get to Trey there at the end?
I actually took 2. I was trying to leapfrog some of those guys. My left sides weren't really that worn out, so I thought it'd be all right. Looking back at it, I guess I probably should have taken 4, but it's easy to say that now. Yeah, I don't know. It's unfortunate. Wish people weren't wrecking for 90th there at the end of the race after the pit stops and everything. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's par for the course.
I can tell that you're not the biggest fan of the drafting type things, and I know we're going to Daytona next week, and that's another kind of drafting type track like we had tonight at Pocono. What are your thoughts as we head to Daytona?
I'm sure it'll be I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun. At least Daytona and Talladega. You kind of expect that stuff. You expect to at least get a little bit of separation at Pocono, but apparently not, thanks to the draft model. So I don't know. I'm sure next week we'll be up front, racing for the win, and probably end up on our lid. I don't know. I'm not having a lot of fun right now, as you could probably tell. So yeah.
Well, before we let you get out of here tonight, is there anybody you'd like to thank sponsor-wise?
Yeah, thanks to TranService putting on the sponsoring the series. Thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast. Thanks for Trey for always keeping me looking good. Good win to him as well. I'm not disappointed that I didn't win the race and that he won it, or that I didn't win it. Um, I'm slightly disappointed. Pocono is one of the very few tracks at Sim500 I have yet to win on. And it's one of my better tracks too. So it makes me question how or why I haven't won the race. And I thought I did a pretty good job tonight, but it would have been nice if we could have got some separation. That's where my frustration comes in. But it is what it is. Yeah, thanks everybody that watched too. It's fun to be out here racing in front of people. Wish the show could have been a little better. At least it would. Maybe it was good. It just wasn't good for my seat.
Yeah, get that. Anyway, we'll let you get out of here for tonight. Congrats again on the third place finish, and we will see you in Daytona next week.
Thanks, Mike. Have a good one.
All right, and that was your podium finishers. Gary, take us home.
Well, I know Justin Fuller wasn't a fan of the race or how it turned out, and I think this place he's kind of turned into Mark Martin of Pocono. Mark Martin has 8 second place finishes here, never won here. But I'll tell you what, this race is pretty good tonight. I'm looking forward to Daytona next week. Always puts on a good show. Going to be interesting to see who's going to come out on top. We really don't know until we get there. It could be a wild card, and it could be somebody that we expect every week.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you for tuning in to All Star 15 TV. Tonight's broadcast was the Sim500 TranService Truck Series, won by Trey Eitzen, followed by E.J. O'Rourke and Justin Fuller, your top 3. Check out all our sponsors in the description. And thank you for tuning in. Next broadcast is Monday, right here on the channel for the Extreme Forces Racing League. See you guys there, or see you in Daytona next week. Have a good weekend. Stay safe, stay cool, and peace out, everybody.
Bye.
From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
Industries across the board utilize fleet trucks on a daily basis, from your local utility company to your grocery store, and many of these companies choose full-service fleet leasing. With a traditional lease, you're responsible for everything after you get the truck, but a full-service lease includes all the maintenance and other services at a set cost. Regardless of the scope or range of your fleet needs, TranService will engineer a fully customized, full-service fleet leasing solution optimized to your requirements. From asset acquisition requiring no capital investment, to the engineering, configuration, and selection of your fleet equipment, to the people, facilities, and equipment to keep your fleet maintained and repaired. TranService gives you everything you need, with advantageous fleet pricing based on our national account status, compliance expertise, inspections, licensing, permitting, personal property taxes, nationwide roadside service. We cover it all for you. Contact us today to learn why leading companies rely on TranService for complete turnkey leasing solutions.